American top team. Teammates, they're battling it out. We have the Pitbull, Andrei Arlovski, taking on Pezao, Rogerio de Lima. And it's weird when teammates fight. For Arlovski, I mean, my God, the guy's been fighting forever. His first fight was in 1999 as a professional.
Dadsik or whatever.
Yeah, you're close.
It was Buddy who just knocked out Fyodor's brother.
Fyodor? Were you born over there? Yeah, Vyacheslav Datsik.
Thank you.
Fyodor?
That's how Ariel Hawani says it. You pronounce everyone's names the right way, so I'm trying to do the same.
Fyodor.
Don't call me out for what you do on a daily basis.
Andrei Arlovski taking on Rogerio de Lima. And for Arlovski, the last time he fought a current teammate was when he fought Felipe Lins, and he got the decision win there. And if you look at it for Arlovski, since 2020, he's 6-1. Some chintzy decisions have gone his way. But regardless, if you look at it, he has his own little faction in the gym. Rogerio de Lima has a lot of Brazilian fighters in his camp. Augusto Sakai, Marcelo Gomes, chief among them. But for Rogerio de Lima, you get two versions of him. You get the guy that goes balls to the wall very quickly. Consider his fight with Ben Rothwell as an example.
Oh my goodness, that guy was scary.
You get the guy that has a good first round and then starts to kind of fall off a cliff as the fight goes on. Consider maybe his last fight against Blagoy Ivanov, even though Rogerio de Lima still has a little bit of a say in that fight if you wanted to consider it. But for de Lima, it's been a weird run. He came into the UFC off of the Ultimate Fighter Brazil Season 3. He loses to Shoeface, as the tournament's going on, but he makes it into the UFC. He fights at light heavyweight. Obviously, the weight issues were a big problem.
He was like John Lineker at flyweight. Did he really fight at light heavyweight, or did he just fight a lot of 210-pound catchweights?
Yeah, kind of the Ovin St. Preux issue. But if you do look at it for de Lima, he makes the move up to 265 pounds. He's had some decent fights. He's had some bad fights. He's looking to get back in the win column. But if you do consider it here, let's look at some of the biggest wins for both of these guys. We have a look at Andrei Arlovski. He's got a win over Tim Sylvia. He also lost to Tim Sylvia twice. Lost his belt to Sylvia, actually. He has a win over Fabrizio Verdum. He has a win over Frank Mir. He has the biggest win of his career by split decision. Biggest win of his career by split decision over Benton Schaus. Big win right there. We have a look at de Lima. A win over Paulo Filo when he was 21-1-1. His only loss before that, he fought Chael Sonnen. And then he also has wins over the Wombat, Ben Sassoli, and Big Ben Rothwell for Rogerio de Lima. Arlovski also has a Rothwell win. If I'm not mistaken, that was with Affliction, brother.
What do you want me to tell the fans at this point? You basically have told people everything.
Well, we have a couple of guys who are fighting this weekend. One is still a finisher. One has changed his game and evolved into a guy who can win some decisions.
It's weird that Andrei Arlovski has just become heavyweight Joanne Wood, because that's all he is at this point. I've said this a long time about Joanne, formerly Calderwood, now Wood. It's, hey, what's the best fight Joanne Calderwood could get into? What's the best fight Joanne Wood can get into? Probably a split decision win. It's going to be a lot of 50-50 exchanges. She'll get the clinch, get those elbows in. She'll get taken down a few times. All of her fights are normally going to end very close. And for Arlovski, it really has been the same thing in his recent tenure of fights. He has very good volume. He has very good footwork. He has great cardio for a heavyweight who is 43 years of age. Normally we say power ages very well, which is the truth for the majority of athletes. But Arlovski now does not rely on his power. He relies on his footwork, his technique, his output, which is really interesting, and that's why this fight's so difficult to predict. I was rummaging through my pocket to see if I could find a quarter, because that's how I feel about this fight. De Lima gets an early stoppage, or Arlovski looks good and schools him and puts on another one of those, y'all must have forgot, get off my lawn performances. Now, the weird thing is, De Lima has been around for a lot longer than people probably assume. He was a longtime fighter I shouldn't even say a longtime fighter, he's just been around for a while in the UFC, between light heavyweight and heavyweight, and he does have some decent and respectable wins, like you had brought up. And I could see a world where de Lima goes out there, blitzes Arlovski very similar to how he did against Ben Rothwell, because that's the thing. I vividly remember both of us sitting here saying, hey, Ben Rothwell doesn't get knocked out.
Hasn't been knocked out since he fought Cain Velasquez.
And that was a long time ago. JDS beat the shit out of him, but he hasn't been dropped or knocked out in a very long time. De Lima's only chance is to knock him out fast. And
Rogerio de Lima fights like if you thought Jungle Juice was a good idea in college or university. you're going to sleep pretty quickly if you go for it.
Oh, I was going to say, Rogerio de Lima fights like you just drank 12 Four Locos. He goes for it, but there's not a lot after the initial rush, and you're probably going to go to the hospital afterwards. Now, for Arlovski, maybe he can use that dynamic movement that we have seen, because that's the thing that does differentiate him from Ben Rothwell. Yes, Rothwell might be more durable, but he's also much more stationary, and he's much more available to be hit by that big power. So you are probably going to get 1 or 2 big clean shots in before we finally realize how durable Rothwell is. For Arlovski, we don't really know where his chin is at this stage of his career, because he has suffered so many knockout losses, and I know you can look at his recent string of success and think, okay, maybe his chin has come back, but I gotta be honest. It's like when Trae Young made the conference finals. I told my friends, yeah, I think Trae Young's good. I didn't believe a damn word I said to them, and I still don't believe it now. With Arlovski, I still don't think he can stand up to the power of De Lima. I don't think that's a hot take by any means. It's just, can he avoid the power of De Lima? And I think that's the more important question.
And we've seen it for Arlovski, like I said, since 2020, 6-1, which is absolutely wild. He's beaten Bozer, Felipe, Vanderaa, and Collier. Those are all really tricky decision wins. I thought the Jake Collier decision was one of the worst I've ever seen, and I still do at this point, even worse than Jan
But it feels like he's been in 10 straight fights that could go either way completely.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Bell scored that one 30-27, and then we also had Douglas Crosby and Sal D'Amato. They had it 29-28 for Arlovski, but if you do consider it for Arlovski, still throws a decent level of volume. Yeah. It's not going to knock your socks off, but it's still decent. Cardio still holds up, in and out with his footwork, good side to side. Takedown defense can be an issue at times. Tom Aspinall was able to pop up top and then get the takedown and take his back.
It's a little different.
He did, and Rogerio de Lima could. I mean, you look at de Lima's fight against Maurice Green as a good example. Took him down easily, held him down for 14 minutes in that fight. You look at the odds, de Lima open -130, -200 right now. For Arlovski, open +110, +160. We have a look at the Tapology vote, Matt. Surprised to us as they are to you. I'm going to say over under 70% de Lima.
I think it'll be under.
You think it's going to be under? Oh, it
is. Let's go.
662 total votes. 70%
you
Arlovski.
Right on the dot.
91% by decision for Arlovski. For the 30% that have de Lima, 70% by knockout. So, Matt, the fans have Arlovski, but the betting community continues to side with de Lima. Who do you have in this matchup?
I feel conflicted because there's some fighters that I feel like I have a good read on. Like you had brought up, like Chase Hooper, I never thought I had a good read on him, but I guess I picked a lot of his fights right. I feel like I get every Arlovski fight wrong.
I do.
Even if I do get it right, though, there's sometimes you get a pick right on this channel, but you feel dirty about it. I can admit this 100%. You'll think, oh, I got the win, but the fight didn't go a single way that I thought it was going to go, and I got most of like the actual content of the fight wrong. For Arlovski, I feel like that a lot, but I think he's going to get knocked out in this fight. I really do. I think de Lima's going to hit him with one of those big bursts. I think he's going to find his chin. I think he's going to knock him out. It's nothing against this late career resurgence of Arlovski. It's kind of wild he's been able to keep it going this long. I vividly remember being in grade 12 in 2016, and people were counting Andrei Arlovski out at that stage of his career. But I think it's probably up, and that's why I have de Lima.
I do not like the cardio Marcos Rogerio de Lima
at
all. After one round, he looks completely gassed. So unless he gets the finish in the first round, I think Arlovski cruises to a decision win in this one. He's good in and out. He's decent with takedown defense in general. We'll see if de Lima and that other faction from American Top Team is able to figure out Arlovski at this stage. But we're split on the pick. Matt going with Pezao, de Lima. I'm going with the Pitbull. Andrei Arlovski to get the win. Let us know down below in the comment section. Really eager to hear from you on this one because I can see a lot of people being split on the pick. We have some big time fights left on this card. Calvin Kattar taking on Arnold Allen in the main event. You're not going to want to miss it. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks. We always say, let's get into it.